Ronan, why do we not have an honour system in this country?
Well, it's a legacy of British rule, really. To the extent, obviously, there's a skepticism, always been skepticism in nationalist Ireland about the British honour system, going back not exclusively, but to the 1918, the 1800 abolition of Grattan's Parliament, which was alleged to have happened as a result of the British Crown showering honours on Irish peers and lords and so on and so forth. So there's always been that historical aversion to an honour system. Going back right to the foundation of the state, it was included in both the first constitution of the Irish Free State and the 1937 constitution that the Irish state would not confer any honours. And I think that was to distinguish us from the British model, but also because the British model is predicated on it being a monarchy. So any honour would come in the first instance from the king or the queen. So the idea was that in a republic, you wouldn't have an honour system. And this is something that, historically speaking, this is the reason why there's been such an aversion over the years to it. And also, you only have to look at the sort of debased nature of the British honour systems to see how not to run such a system.
Are we an anomaly or an outlier? Do many other countries not have honour systems?
I'm not sure, to be honest, but I do know that the French and the Americans have honour systems and they're both republics. So it's
because that's often the argument made, actually.
Yeah.
It flies in the face of Republican values to have an honour system.
Yeah, well, I mean, you can have a Légion d'honneur or the Presidential Medal of Freedom in the US, and nobody suggests that they're a monarchical thing. I think the other aversion, I suspect, to an honour system is can we be trusted to have one, and would it end up being a system for cronies and as it is in the UK? So that's really it.
You have your own honour from the French, is that right?
Well, I got a Chevalier in 2018, the Arte de Lettres for my work on the First World War remembrance, but that doesn't give me a title, so I'm not Sir this or Sir that, or I don't get any letters after my name.
You're still just Monsieur McGreevy when you go to France.
Yeah, so I get a tiny little ribbon that I can wear once a year, but that's it.
But listen, it's well deserved and fair play for it as well. So, Gerard, like I say, you introduced a bill previously in this regard. What was the system you wanted to see in Ireland?
Okay, we did. Twice we've introduced a bill, and by the way, the most recent introduction, the government decided not to oppose it, which is an interesting turn of events. Fergal Quinn was the first person that I dealt with who wanted to introduce Gradam an Uachtaráin, which was the honours system. And we've literally taken Fergal's bill and brought it back into the Oireachtas. So Patrick is a little bit behind the curve here because that bill was run through the Senate at stage 2 about 6 months ago.
Okay.
Or thereabouts. And as I say, Leo Varadkar decided not to oppose it. That doesn't mean a whole lot in Leinster House. But why do we want to do it? We want to be able to recognise things like social and community activities. We want to be able to recognise education and healthcare, art, literature, music, science and technology, sport, and leadership in business. Okay. Now, I'm very much aware of what you were talking about, the UK system. The UK system has been, I suppose, sullied or marred with all sorts of controversy. And I personally, if the bill goes to committee stage, I will be suggesting that we only award honours to those who are deceased.
Oh, a posthumous only award.
Yes. Yeah, that would be my view.
That's like at funerals, where we wait until people are dead before we say what a great person they were. We never tell them when they're alive.
Well, I've decided to have my own funeral 2 days before I die.
Well, that's a great idea. It's a great idea.
But no, I mean, it would be a tangible recognition of the contribution played by an individual during their lifetime. I have a certain sort of foreboding when we mix politics and awards of any sort. Even we've structured this that the President appoints the commission for the award of this honour, and that starts with the Secretary General of the Department of the President's Office, and there are a number of other people involved, including the Secretary General of IBEC, the President of the ICA, various other I think it's about 12 members in all. 7 members we have. So they're all non-political. But is anybody really non-political?
No, nobody is really non-political. This listener says, an honour system, well, pointing out what you've said as well, Ronan, it's unconstitutional. We'd need a referendum to introduce one. Give Stephen Kenny a knighthood, says somebody else. I agree there should be an honour system, but not for those paid to serve the public. I could see this becoming flooded with TDs and senators looking for a medal. That's another feature, Ronan, of the honour system in the UK. It's not just kind of celebrities or political cronies. It's also people who've just worked for long enough in the public service.
That's it.
They end up getting an honour. And I'm not denigrating or degrading the work they do, but at the same time, they're paid a salary for that work and they get a pension at the end of it. I mean, I don't know why you're honouring somebody just because they became Secretary General of a department.
I agree. I'm with Roy Keane on this one. That's his job, you know.
Yes.
I mean, but every
clapping a pilot when they land a plane.
Every senior ranking officer in the UK gets one. Every general gets one. Every head of a department gets one. I personally feel myself, if there was to be an honour system, I think it should be a presidential system rather than, there's no way it should be given to the government of the day. But my own view is that, first of all, I give it to people who are still alive, but I would give it to people, solely to people who work in the community and voluntary sector, who go above and beyond the day-to-day things to help their community, because I have an aversion to, for instance, giving business people who are already well rewarded for whatever it is they do, or artists or actors or TDs or senators an honour. I think it should be for those people in the community who put themselves above and beyond in the call of duty.
Yeah, I guess a lot of the people you mentioned there who are already well rewarded, they already have honours, a lot of them. You know, don't they? There's plenty of awards people get. Sports stars get awards beyond kind of the winning of matches and the medals. They get all-stars if they're in Gaelic games. They get appointed the Irish Times Sportsman or Sportswoman of the Month every month. They pick different people. People get honorary doctorates and degrees, and they get admitted into Aosdána for the rest of their life. All these other things, Jerry. Is there an argument you limit it, as Ronan says, to I know the way Ronan describes it, I'm thinking of kind of carers in the community, people like that who dedicate their life and their time and their own personal resources in the service of others?
Well, first and foremost, anybody from the west of Ireland would know that I would be well fitted to a lord. The village of Craughwell is there already, so the barony is there. But no, I totally agree. It should not.
My country is Craughwell's cross. my countrymen, Craughwell's poor.
There should never be an honour for politicians of any sort. I don't care who they are, senators, Taoiseach, presidents, etc. They shouldn't. I totally agree with the notion that we should honour those in society who would quietly work away, doing what they do for their communities, who are above and beyond anything else. To hell with politicians. You know, we get well paid and well looked after. We don't need it. Businessmen, I totally agree with you. They're well looked after in the business community. But you think of, for example, the nurse in a hospital who goes beyond the ordinary, the sister in a hospital who goes beyond the ordinary, the local national school teacher who is involved. You know, when you go around the country, you find these people and they're involved in everything and they drive everything. Those are the people that I would favour this for if we were to do it for the living. I do have a difficulty in any politician getting anywhere near this because, you know, we'll be open and transparent and then we'll do exactly what we wanted to do anyway.
Yeah, well, I think that final kind of qualification speaks the concern people have. If you could guarantee it would be, as you describe it, and only that, it's very hard to argue against it. You know, a system whereby the state acknowledges the tremendous work these people do. I think that the natural fear and the reticence people have is they think, you know, the classic, this is why we can't have nice things. You know, we'll introduce the system and before you know it, you know, former Senator Craughwell has been appointed Lord of the Manor.
Lord Craughwell, I think it floats off the tongue beautifully, don't you?
Lots and lots of people getting in touch with similar suggestions. Are people that insecure that they need a validation in life, says somebody else. Kevin in Old Town, the army should have fancy uniforms for ceremonial guards of honour. as many European republics do. Well, they have their kind of dress uniform. They don't necessarily wear their fatigues all the time. It's all about politicians giving honours to one another. That is my fear, and a complete waste of time. Other people suggesting some names as well. I might get to some of them after the break. In the meantime, Gerard Craughwell, Independent Senator, Ronan McGreevy, Irish Times journalist, and what do I say, recipient of a Chevalier?
Long time ago.
Yeah, long time ago, but well deserved. Ronan and Gerard, thank you very, very much for joining me.